Hello everybody, my name is Don. I'm cold as sick a man on trials, and everything else I'm known as McNubs. I just created actual ninja training, and the reasoning behind it is usually in Track Central you see hundreds if not thousands of quote ninja trainings that expect you to go through the whole thing and learn something. The only problem is if you can't pass a checkpoint, you can't learn anything beyond what's right there. So the track that I built has a system where if you press skip, it moves you on to the next checkpoint, and you can always come back to it. You can play it again and get better, but find out the areas that you need practice with. Now, it's not all inclusive. There are some front wheel obstacles that I forgot about building this, but it's a little too late to put them in right now. I might make a ninja training too. For me personally, I've been playing this for several years, but only within the last year or so I've gotten into the advanced ninja skills. These are going over a lot of the skills that I know, and some of these I have just learned, like the vertical wall climb. That's going to take a little bit. So one thing to note, I drove a piece of glass through my finger, so this is going to be segmented. I have to take small breaks, and I'm just going to go through, do what I can, stop for a bit, and then come back to it. If you see anything in here that you would like me to explain a little bit further, drop it in a comment or PlayStation ID message me. And again, it's cold is sick of man. So without further ado, here we go. Alright, big thing here, just pay attention to the board, don't press retry. That goes for this intro screen as well. You can body touch and it automatically restarts you without setting up a fault. Now the skip, other than the first track, it takes you to the next checkpoint, but it gives you a fault. So the way that I use it is how many tracks I skip is how many I need to practice out of the hole. So watch. See, the time didn't change, it just gives me a fault each time I press it. So here we go, we're going to move on to CP1. And again, don't abuse skips. You'll see why. If you're doing this to speedrun, then this track isn't for you, and you're going to find out pretty quick why. So here we go. First one, here we go, 1 out of 27. This can be either a break climb or just a standard wall climb. So you can do it where you lean yourself right up on it, accelerate nice and slow, level yourself out, and just go straight up. The other way you can do it is to break climb, and notice how it reset but I didn't get a fault. It's because my foot touched the ground. You get up here, you break, and you just climb that way. For number 2, this is just a simple wall climb. Just watch your throttle and you should be fine. Might have to take a break here. Alright, and okay, track 3 out of 27. This is a front tire brake to a vertical climb, and these little yellow pieces here are just a guide as to where you would want to stop your front tire. So let me get it set up here and then we'll have at it. Okay, 4 out of 27. This is a vertical climb to a piece that goes a little over 90 degrees towards you. And what you are meant to do is go up at a certain speed, hit a piece of that, and brake, and it will flip you around. Now, once you hit it and you get your front tire on the top, you may need to fap your brake a little bit to bring your back tire up and over enough so that you can touch the ground and carry on. 5 out of 27 can be done one of two ways. The way that it's built and the way that it's intended is for you to do a brake climb without your front tire touching, and to me this is a pretty hard skill to master, and I just learned it, so I'm not perfect at it. The other way you can do it, at least for this checkpoint, is to come up on your front tire, slam it down, and just ride it straight up. 6 out of 27 is a vertical climb with a barrel assist. This isn't as hard as just a straight vertical climb, but it is still pretty difficult. First time I saw it was in Way of the Farmer, and you had to get over a bunch of, I want to say they were pigs, which was hilarious, but the checkpoint itself took me a good while to learn and to get over and actually finish the track. So I'm going to give it a few tries. Unlike the brake climbs, these I find you don't want to brake as you're going through, you just want to let off the throttle. You start off with a light push, and then you pretty much let off the throttle until you're almost vertical, and then you hit it again. So something like that. I was a little throttle heavy there, so I didn't get up properly. Yep, and that's what you want to do. Ooh, saved it. 7 out of 27 is a just straight vertical climb, and what you're meant to do is stop your back tire somewhere within the yellow markings and watch your throttle and just go very slow straight up. So let's give it a few attempts here. And we got it. For 8 out of 27, it's a rear tire hook, and if you touch the wall on that other side there, you're going to be automatically reset, so you just come right back here. Again, it has little yellow markers for an idea of where to brake, and then you just hook and flip around. 9 out of 27 is the same thing, the only difference is now it's front tire. And you're going to be braking a little farther back, and you want to be sitting back on your bike. And as you're falling that way, you want to be holding left on your joystick or steering D-pad, whatever you use. So here we go. Now, a big thing there is you're going to want to land on your back tire. You're not going to get a perfect flip where you land with both tires. And 10 out of 27, this is a flip. I'm sorry, this is a reverse climb, jump, and then a swing over, just like you did with number 8. You're going to do for number 10, only this time you're going the other way. And you're going to want to keep throttle as you're flipping around. Let it go as soon as you feel you're lined up. And don't forget that your momentum is going to carry you through. 11 out of 27, this is my favorite obstacle to throw in a track. I first saw it in Way of the Machine, and it threw me off, but after a while I got used to it and actually learned to like it. And all it is jumping at the appropriate times. You could do that and go the whole way through, or you can slow down, re-level yourself out, and line up again. But these slants are made so you can barely throttle control and stay on your back wheel. 12 out of 27 is the same as 11, except this is just back wheel, and the jumps are a little lower, so it makes it a little nicer, a little more fluid. 13 out of 27. You'll see this in a lot of standard ninja tracks, especially the ones that have reverse, where they force you to jump backwards. Oh, my body touched for some reason there. Oops. I'm not as good as these as I thought I was. There we go. 14 out of 27. This is a reverse front wheel. And I first saw this on the 50 front wheel back wheel checkpoint track. Don't remember who made it, but that track took me forever to pass, and this is the reason why. So let me get set up just a little bit here. Okay. You want to reverse, lean forward, and get as far back as you can before you have to adjust. So just keep your back wheel raised a little bit, and sometimes you're able to ride it the entire way through. Just tiny adjustments. This is a very hard obstacle, just in general, and for me personally, I've never practiced it after that track, so I'm not near the best at this. And I got it. 15 out of 27. This can be done two ways. The way it was meant to be done is for you to take it slow, get up here on your front tire, and just practice on bouncing it over a small gap. If you're either, you know, already used to it, or you know how it works and you've pretty much perfected it, you can hit that lower ramp there and fly over the first obstacle, over this blue platform there. And again, that's not the way it was intended, but if you already know it and you don't want to practice it, instead of skipping, you can just fly right up to the second platform. 16 out of 27. This is an obstacle I first saw in a iRocky Cat video or track, and I kind of adopted it and made it into my own. His was a little shorter, but all it is a front wheel incline. Sometimes you may want to tap your brake just to give yourself a little pop, and you can re-catch yourself and just go through it like that. 17 out of 27 starts off with a rear wheel fender grab, and it brings you around to 3 platforms, and the idea is to get you used to the back wheel hopping and brake jumping over like bombs or other obstacles. Now these bombs won't explode. Personally, I find exploding bomb on a track annoying, especially if you're going to be hitting it a lot. 18 out of 27. This is one of 2 of the overhangs that there's really no perfect explanation except keep your front wheel off as you're going up and then brake and slam it down on the top. This is a variation. 19 out of 27 is a variation of 18. It's one that I just recently used in my Appalachian track, and I noticed a lot of people had issue with it. I don't necessarily consider it a ninja per se, but it is rather difficult, so just take it slow with that. Watch your throttle, watch your front wheel. 20 out of 27, this is one of the 2 reverse rear wheel downslopes. This is a little less inclined than normally used, but it still gives you an idea of how to control your bike going backwards down a hill. 20 out of 21, I was playing Toby's new track. I want to say it was Stranger Things, and he had one of these where you had to switch from going backwards, leaning back, to transitioning to leaning forward while still on the same slant, and that's what I use the top for. You saw me just get past that, but before I move on, I want to explain what I was talking about. So you're leaning back, you have to stay up here and transition and then reverse, and I still don't have the skill for it. I'm practicing it, that's why I put this in here. Maybe some of you people already have it down, but you know, that's what this is here for. It's for training. 22 out of 27 starts off with a rear wheel incline, and then it goes into a rather huge reverse jump. And if you just go straight up it and get to that gap and try to jump over it, you're not going to make it, and I'll show you. Even with a really good just standard jump, you're not going to get over it. What you are meant to do is go up backwards, give it a good bounce, unlike that, and get over it that way. So let me give it a couple tries here. Shouldn't take too long, and we'll move on. Ooh, couldn't save it there. "23 out of 27 is just like 22, except now you have a platform in the middle. That platform itself is not rear wheel. It's put there to, you know, give you a moment to adjust and do it again if needed. Now this is marked as a rear wheel, but it's really not, and it's just to give you the idea that you need to pretty much stay on your back wheel to make this work. And for those of you wondering why I put a piece of glass through my finger, it wasn't intentional. My electronic cigarette tank cracked. I didn't know it, and when I went to switch atomizers, the tank pretty much shattered in my hand. I looked down, had blood running all over my hand, and looked a little closer. There was a piece of glass, I want to say about a 1/4 inch into my finger. So against better judgment, I pulled it out. Should have went to the hospital and at least got it looked at. Maybe a stitch or two. It's not necessarily huge, but it's enough. But it's on my acceleration finger, and it's making things pretty difficult right now. So you're going to have to bear with me. I'm going to give this a couple more attempts, put a break in here if I have to. We'll come back to it. And there we go. 24 out of 27 is a rather common ninja obstacle, especially when you start getting up into the harder 3s, level 4s and 5s. And all it is a rear bounce to almost vertical climb. It looks easier than what it actually is. Obviously, I'm not making it look easy. But it's definitely something I enjoy practicing, so I figured, you know, throw it in here, and hopefully you guys like it too. "25 out of 27 has a rather unique setup. What this first dot does is it gets rid of the platform that was just behind you. The second dot, and the reason that it's up higher, is to get you set up so that once you touch it, now it's a rear wheel platform. And what you're meant to do on this is get a couple good bounces in, carry your momentum forward just enough so that you can get across, land on your front tire, and, you know, see it the rest of the way through. 26 out of 27, this is probably the hardest, if not second hardest, only to number 7. That, you know, it took me forever to learn, but once I got it down, you know, I got consistent at it. It didn't make it easier, it didn't make me like it anymore, but it's definitely pretty hard. What it is a rear wheel to front wheel bounce, and you need to get a good couple bounces in, build up your momentum just enough so that you can launch yourself backwards and stop on your front tire. Okay, there we go. 27 out of 27. This is the easiest checkpoint. There's a reasoning behind it. I'm not going to spoil it for you. If you want to find out, you know, by all means go for it. If you haven't noticed already, on the checkpoint you have a yellow and red and a dark blue, light blue, and what those signify is where the skip barrel is and where the advance barrel is. So as you're playing through this on your own, you know, just look at those, keep in mind of what direction you need to go. So with that, we are finished with this track. Of course, put my name in here so you know who it was created by, especially on the cross-platform like Xbox and PC. Hope you enjoyed, and if you would like me to explain any checkpoint in further detail, feel free to drop a comment and let me know. Alright, thanks.